Yo, what's good, y'all? So I'm just hopping on live yet again. I'm actually excited for tonight. Today's gonna be a really good episode. So today, she already coming in. She's quick with it. So that's Coach Leah. We're gonna be having a conversation. We're having a three-way conversation today. Welcome in, Jonathan. Glad to have you in today. And we already got a request from our first guest. We're going to have two guests in today. So I'm going to be speaking not only with my business coach, that's Credit Coach Leah. I'm also going to be bringing back on our guest from last week. That was Nicole Campbell. She is actually a auto dealer out in Atlanta, Georgia. So we're going to be bringing on both of them today. Going to have a three-way conversation with everything. So I'm looking forward to having this. So stay tuned. It's going to be a good one tonight. The same exact questions. We're about to bring on both of them right now. Let's see. So that was a request. Let me see if I can just add. There we go. So, and remove from live. So there she go already. What's going on?
Hey.
Can I add on? I guess add as a moderator. No. I'm learning having a request. Okay, so Nicole, I'm just gonna tell you the request to join because I'm trying to figure out how to add Nicole in right now. Because when remove from live video. So yeah, y'all still gotta know. I'm still a little bit new to it. Maybe that's the reason. So let me follow first. Nope, that didn't work either. I don't know. Hopefully Nicole can just try to join in by requesting. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm gonna try to make it work either way.
I know I've been seeing people doing the three ways.
You can do a four-way. I know you can. I know I've seen it before.
I've seen the four ways too.
Request to join room show up here. So yeah. Oh, duh. I'm slow. Just press the next button. So yeah, she should be coming in a second now. There she
Hi.
go. We got all three of us on here now.
Hey.
Yeah, so today's conversation gonna be really good.
How y'all doing?
Doing excellent. How about y'all?
Excellent day.
I'm
Yeah.
fabulous. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. So, like I said, everyone. So today we're going to be having a three-way conversation. Today I'm sharing the stage with my business coach. She was my coach from what was our first day, December 4th or something last year.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's coming up on 1 year soon. I'm excited. Like lots. I mean, I was just telling my dad. I was like, I'm so glad the season of my journey is about to come to a close. The season of I call this like the season of wait because it's been so much waiting. Just waiting for the next thing that's about to be able to take us to the next level. So but you were a pivotal part of the wait season because I think we started off with actually you kind of saw two seasons. You saw the like the wait then scaled and I was back at wait again. So it was like for the next phase. So that's why I've kind of been at this since we stopped working with each other, but about to scale up all over again. And I think that's where we're about to start transitioning to where Nicole is going to come into play. So I'm excited to share the stage with both of y'all today. But I think, first of all, before we really get into it, I want y'all to both go ahead and introduce yourselves so people know who y'all are, for anybody who doesn't already know.
I'll let you go first, Nicole.
Why? Okay. So my name is Nicole Campbell, and I own a car broker company. I'm a licensed car dealer, and basically I help individuals to find vehicles based off of the requirements that they give me and selections. The name of my company is CSH Ventures. Website is 30 Day Dealer.
That's it.
Awesome. So I'm actually sending this to like 10 people. I'm following the
Yeah. So
rules.
anybody who is
I've
send
sent
the current,
mine to like 50.
like, hey, tap in. We on here. Let's
I know.
get it.
I'm like, yo, wait, who else? I was like, I was going through the list. I'm like, all right,
Just
10.
inviting everybody. Send.
You have to tell me I couldn't send no more.
Right.
I know
Everybody get a
they
notification from
were
Instagram in a second, like, hey, can you stop sending so many people?
Okay. Hey, Javante, I saw you. Come on. Hi, that was my coach.
No, we not late. It's 6 p.m. his time. Jai is in the building. I love it. That dude, what up, you sir?
Yeah, what's going on?
So I am Culture Credit Coach, known as Credit Coach Leah. I am a business structure strategist to help small business owners to develop their digital footprints as well as structure their business in a solidified, legitimate, credible business that helps them to scale. So it is a pleasure and honor to be on your platform, Marlon, because I
Most
don't watch your journey and I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, I owe a lot to both of y'all, and I haven't even worked enough with Nicole yet, but I already owe a lot to her too. Because, so I'm always willing like to share my platform and really also share like who helped me along my journey with everybody else that are watching me, because I want people to really understand this part that when people say it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a whole community of people to really get somebody through their business journey. And I believe firmly that it's not going to be done alone. And I don't think anybody should even try to do anything alone in their business or just in anything, to be honest, because you are only as good as what you already know. And there's so many things there's more things that you don't know than things that you do know. I was telling my mom this last night. Because she likes the thought of knowing her family, like the people that she works with, she's glad to work with them because she knows them already. I was telling her that there's so many more people that I can actually get more help from people that I don't know already. I was explaining to her today that, Nicole, I met you from the morning meetup. That was last year. Alleah, I met you on a whim by just looking for a joint venture contract, and I end up coming across you and having a conversation. Both of y'all have already been life changing as far as for my business and where we're about to go. So I want people to understand that it's not just me. I even talk about all the time that me and my dad, we're both running the business together. I always mention that me and him are running together. I tried to steer clear. Matter of fact, I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm making a whole new mantra right here. So it may be backwards if y'all look at it. I'm like about to create an entire belief system of, let me just read it for y'all. Work on the business or work a 9 to 5. That's what it says.
oh, that's a good mantra.
I'm
Well,
like literally.
that
So
ties into the shirt.
I love it.
I'm literally
We need
going
to
in
get a
that
shirt
direction.
like that.
I probably will. And so like I'm about to be moving on that because my thing is we need to be working on building something that's sustainable, something that's built to last, something that we don't. So I'll think about when I first go into a business, or when I decide to finally start a business, I'm not starting it with the intent on working it the rest of my life or being the only one that's doing it. I'm usually starting it so I can achieve some type of freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, some type of freedom. But
Oh,
let's see,
Marlon?
my phone did not
Okay.
disturb. I know I put my phone do not disturb, and they still
I
call
was
me.
gonna say
So they
you
trying to
made
get
sure
through.
to call me out. Put it on do not disturb. I was like, oh.
I'm telling you, but they still be trying to get through. That's why I said to tell y'all. But
I was
it seems
like,
like
let
I'm
me
gonna
go
lose my train of thought.
ahead and let me go ahead and do the do not
I
disturb
told you,
too.
do not disturb. Yeah, but reason I was going on a solopreneur aspect of things. Like, oh, when I build a business, I'm not looking to build one to tie myself to something for the rest of my life. Usually I'm trying to liberate myself from my 9 to 5 and trying to achieve some sort of freedom by building something for myself. The problem is that a lot of solopreneurs, or I would say a lot of employees that go into entrepreneurship, they get caught in the solopreneur aspect and never are able to get out. And so that's why I wanted to bring both of y'all on here, because in the rental car space in specific, I think that both of y'all can play pivotal parts in helping people along their journey to not necessarily get stuck in that aspect, to be able to scale their business up to the point where they will no longer have to be the one doing all the physical work in the business. And the beautiful thing about what y'all both do is that I think we even did it on Maddie J's call. We kind of can all play, like we all are like different stages of the journey. Alleah, I think you're like the most essential to set the foundation. Because if you try to scale without a solid foundation, then you're not going anywhere. You're going to have to take a lot of steps back in order to fix what you didn't already get corrected. Which is what I'm doing right now, which I'm in another weight stage currently. It's just to point that out. But that's
You know what
why
I
you're on
say?
here today.
I appreciate your ability to be transparent, because that's another
Mm-hmm.
part is that when you come out and you're like, I'm a run the play, and it's like, wait, hold on, I got this waiting period. Nah, but y'all, guess what? I'm really doing great, and it's like, wait, hold on, what are you really doing? So I appreciate your transparency, because you were like, nah, I'm in the waiting phase, because I didn't. I was
She
gonna say,
good.
I was like, did you get a do not disturb? But no, I'm saying, you know, when you are in the waiting phase, it's not a bad place actually, because it's another spot where you can regroup and restructure so that you can actually propel so that you don't have any more waiting periods. So
Mm-hmm.
waiting serve purposes in the fact that it's like, okay, all right, I may have not done this as I should have done here, but here's how I can progress. And then, okay, now I can go forward. And then in this case, you can minimize how many waiting periods that are coming up by
Yep.
actually, you know, taking that time to really build while you're in the waiting period.
Yep. And that's I think that that's the key piece is that if you do things the right way from day one, you will minimize your waiting periods. It may be a lot of grunt work that you don't think is necessary, but in the long term, in the long run, which is why I want to start getting people to think long term because you want to protect you want to protect tomorrow's you rather than today. Make today's you work. That way tomorrow's you is able to live lavishly as a result of what today you was doing. And so now, with all that being said, I want to kind of segue into how both of y'all are able to contribute to everything that I've been able to achieve, and how you also can replicate that for others in the future. So, starting off with Alleah, I want you to like really share with like the audience like what you were able to, I guess, what your goal was for to accomplish for me back when we first got started, and kind of like what is your role in regards to helping people out like in the rental car business? Like, what do you technically do?
Okay, so two questions on that. Two answers, two separate questions. The first question, my goal was for you is to realize how expansive you want to get, as in you told me originally you wanted to get to 100 cars. So when I look at that long term, like where you want to go, it was kind of like, okay, wait, let's come back here. Because if you got to get to 100 cars, there's a lot of steps in between that you're going to need to fine tune. And so one of the things that we did when we first started was create your roadmap. What are you all involved in? What are you trying to do? You're a consultant in regards to helping people. You're also a rental agency. Plus you are, you know, into real estate, and you have, you know, other ventures. So it comes to the fact that when I wanted to see your goal for you is like, okay, so first of all, your structure didn't support, you know, you bringing in 100 cars, because I don't see you all Papa Walls be running 100 cars by yourself. So I was like, 100 sound like a lot. Even even 50 sounds a lot. So I'm like, okay, well, what's your infrastructure? And so then looking at your infrastructure is like, okay, so if you needed to get funding, if you needed to get, you know, staff, and you needed to, you know, maintain certain things, what are missing? And so that's when I looked at your overall operation. I was like, okay, this is, because I remember recommending staff like in January, you know, just like, hey, so you want to start this whole recruitment process? Because you can't scale without people. So, you know, it was like we were talking about that. And so anytime you did ask me a question, you're like, hey, so we just need money. Okay, here's money. And then it was like, okay, what we doing with it? It was like, you getting people? And it kept coming up. Like, you getting people? And it was just like, you getting some business credit? So it was kind of like, okay, so as you were growing, you had to go through realizing how essential that part was that played a part later on.
Mm-hmm.
And so originally looking at your goals was to get you your business credit, was to get you funding, was to get you the support for your business, because you can't continue to scale a business by yourself or with you and dad, right? So the second question is, when people are starting out their business, especially in the rental industry, they come out and there's one thing that like really shoots people in the foot from the very beginning is how they name their business.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come in and they're like, oh, I'm going to be XYZ Rentals. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be XYZ Auto. And it's like, okay, wait, make it so that it don't sound nothing like cars, like, you know, but you also have to be found on every platform. So if I'm sitting here saying I'm a vendor and a lender and I'm looking for you, you should be the first one dominating the first search, the first page of the search, right? And so when we're coming into that structure aspect, it's just in any business, you need to legitimize yourself to be findable. Why? Because if you need money, you need people to like trust you. That's their first way to do so. They're not going to trust you because of just, hey, I'm a really nice person. Are you? Right? Did you invest money into your business to make sure people find you? Do you have a home, a welcoming space, right? And so when you understand the structure of the business, then that takes you into understanding what's necessary to check off the boxes for when you need to get your business credit. There's a lot of people like, oh, I don't need a website. No, yes, you do. Because if you don't have a website, what do they know about you? And they're not going to call you to say, can you tell me about yourself? Because I can't find you online. They're just going to just not call. They're not going to even regard you. So when you're building your business credit, especially for automotive, most times that people are like, that's risky. And so I actually want to touch on the fact that why risky businesses need a safe building so that they can actually propel later on. Being in automotive makes it risky because, one, fatalities can happen with the actual asset, which means that people can get hurt, which means that the value of the hurt and the injuries can supersede the asset itself. The second thing is that when people actually have the car, it loses value the moment the last screw is screwed in on the manufacturing plant. Like it no longer will be that value again. So it's going to depreciate. So then now it's like, okay, so if I put 19,000 in, I'm never going to get 19,000 back. So then it's like, okay, cool. All right, I have this vehicle. But then now you're a rental agency. You need to have a plethora of cars. You can't just say you're a rental agency with one car. So then how do you set yourself up to be this rental agency? You have to do what's known as a slow growth. 2 years of building yourself and your business credit and your business profile, because they can see that you've solicited clients, that you've made transactions, you have history with vendors and lenders, you're constantly putting your own personal cash, injecting money into your business. They can see your history. So now in 2 years, they're like, oh, we see how much money you make. Oh, we see all your relationships. Oh, and we see your web presence too. We see, your track record of getting clients. Yeah, of course we'll give you money because we can see that. And so if you're not trying to do the slow growth thing, you're trying to like supersede that. That's when we come into making sure that the name is ambiguous, and you go into consulting and you establish that so that you can get the business credit side. But you still need to develop the business so that you have cash flow, that you have clients, that you are sustaining the business. You're not just injecting it with cash, but you have a product and service that actually produces for you. So part of that is actually when it's producing for you, you use that money to buy relationships. We have relational purchases with vendors that such as Quill and Zorro and Dell and Home Depot. Right. You build those relationships, but you need money to sustain those relationships. So instead of you just using money and you don't have a product or service, because that's a lot of times most people will really hate building business credit because they have to spend more than they're making. But technically, you're supposed to be operating a business. So you would need these things anyway, because you have clients that are giving you the money to buy these things, rather than you just buying these things and you have no cash flow. So when you're building these relational purchases, these relationships, you're required to have relational purchases. Those relational purchases they've been working with me for 3 months. And guess what? They've bought $100, $200, $300 with me every month. They pay their bills at the term. They pay on time or above terms. And then in this case, they're reporting and letting everybody else, hey, MDWJNS is really great at paying their bills. Go ahead, send them a trade line. Yep. And then now you got to get offers as to like, hey, so I heard you was looking for some money. And they start to spread your name around because your profile is showing your good relationship with these vendors and lenders, your good payment history with these vendors and lenders, and they can also see your digital footprinting that's happening. So you're getting clients. They can see what you're doing to engage and build your business. So that's ultimately when it comes down to having structure. there's actually a trajectory that people cannot bypass. People look at some things as small as having a 411 listing or a fax number. 411 listings and all of the likes are databases that people can find you in. But fax numbers, the IRS still operates by faxing. So if the government is still working with faxes, you don't want to eliminate that as an option or a source, because that's actually a qualifier. When people look at you, do you have these actual these things or elements to your business? Because that is how you can actually show that you're even legitimizing or being credible. So in a long story short that gives full explanation, in a short version of it, that is why structure is important. That's why building the business itself is important. Building the digital footprint is important. How that segues into building business credit, and that's important. How you building clients is important. And then, of course, how that establishes you to be reputable with the funding agencies such as AFC and the likes that want to talk to you and be like, oh, you did all of these things, checked it off. Okay, let's get you a car or two.
Yeah. And that's a perfect segue, because I wish, because I'm trying to think about if I was talking to me on December 4th of 2021 and understanding the bigger picture, I think I would have been more prone to take action. I think that back then, my thing was that I couldn't really see the future. I didn't know where I was going. And so that made me more hesitant to make decisions. And the reason I want to say that is because I feel like a lot of people are in that same situation right now, where they want to take the next step, but they don't really know where they're going with it. So they disregard certain things. Like, what they want a solution, like such as getting cars in their business name. That's the whole point of this entire talk, is trying to help you get cars in your business name. But you don't know what it takes. They don't know all the steps that it's taken to get there. You don't even know that you're naming a step that may be step 10, but you're on step 1 right now, and you need to do step 2 through 9 to get there. That's what I didn't understand either. It's like when you really see the bigger picture, when you can step back and see what the staircase looks like, that was the importance of really building out that roadmap. So like when you can build it out in a step-by-step process and really understand how each one plays a factor on another, that's critical, because like you mentioned, AFC is one of the lenders in the rental car industry that will help you obtain cars for your business. This is where I want to start bringing Nicole in, because she has relationships with AFC. But it's not like you could just walk up there and say, "Hey, I'm Joe Blow. Can I get an auto line?" Because I mentioned how large our rental line was today, and she Dana flipped out like, "You got what? Oh, we finna get to work then." So, like, you have to qualify yourself for that. And so I want to talk about transitioning to Nicole a little bit. Like, what is your role? Like, or I guess, what are the qualifications that were required? Like, is all the stuff that Alleah is saying basically, is that all valid in regards to making sure that you have to? Oh shoot, she just popped up for a second.
Oh no!
I don't know what happened. I'm right there.
How that B was like, peace out. No, Nicole right. Can't talk. No.
I don't know what just happened right there, but it's so important though, because back when we were first starting, I remember that all I wanted to do was get more cars. Like, that was my main focus, was get more cars by any means. Cause I feel like, and I think it comes from like a point of desperation in a way. It's like, I don't care what is being said right now. I just want to protect today. So it's like it's like a starving mentality where I don't care about the future. I just care about the now. And I think that's the part of the sad part about our culture, is that we are in a right now mentality, meaning that we are trying to satisfy ourselves today, but so we starve ourselves in the future. And then when we get to future us is now struggling. And so,
the part that's important is that most people need to understand that if they are in the right now moment, they can be in the right now moment, but project, right? So business planning is also projections. What are you going to do Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4? What does that look like for you? Because even your planning now makes a difference for tomorrow. So you can very much so be present in the right now. It's the fact that you may want results right now. The reason why mostly everybody wants to get cars is because the individual car doesn't yield as much return as if you had a full fleet. right? And so with one fleet that's out, you not only cover the car, but then you start to see exponential growth in the actual account statement, your accounting statement. So this is kind of where it's like that actually plays into you even in structure. When you are establishing your business, most small business owners are like, they're not even considering, oh, I need an accountant or a bookkeeper. Why do you need those things? Because you need to know where you bleed in. You need to know what's progressing you. You also need to know if that's progressing me, do more of that. If it's bleeding, cut that, and so that this case you can actually see your numbers scale. Because another part that AFC and the likes want to actually see is your financials. Not just your tax returns, but they need to see what are you doing every month? What are your expenses? What are your revenues? Because if you're taking in more and have an exponential amount of expenses, you don't have that wiggle room to cover any extra. And so you need to know the health of your financial health of your business, which starts from the very beginning. So when you're structuring your business, you have to understand, yeah, you can get cars, go ahead, run the play, but make sure you're doing it well. Like what Marlon does in regards to making sure that he understands, okay, this car does really well in this market. This car does really well in this market, or it doesn't do well in this market. That's going to help his numbers, because now when he goes to AFC, he knows which cars he wants and which ones are going to perform well financially for the organization. So yeah, you can do the right now thing, but I highly recommend to be strategic about the right now
Yeah.
thing, like so you can get some money. Oh no.
Yeah, I've been trying to invite. I think she should be able to get in. It may not work on computer.
Oh, so if you're on the desktop, you might not be able to add in like you would on the
You're
mobile.
right. I think that's probably what it is too. So if she switches back to phone, she probably be able to jump in with no issue. But I actually wanted Nicole to describe that question. I'm glad somebody just asked that about what is AFC, because that's a whole nother sector. Because that's why I said you have to really understand how the journey unfolds. Because in the beginning, you're being told to set up your structure, to make sure that your business is set up correctly, make sure that you have your phone number listed with 411, make sure that you have your digital footprint. All these things. So when you tell somebody to do something, especially matter of fact, when you tell a kid to do something, what is like they always have a particular that kid right there. That's a prime example. If you tell him to do something that he doesn't necessarily agree with, what's like a typical response that they're going to say?
I know.
It's no, and they also may say the word why. Why should I do this? Like why can't I just do what I want to do? Like why can't I just go run the play? There she go. What's going on? But why can't I just run the play and then get my cars in my business name? Like why can't I just go run it up on my personal credit and then just trade them to my business? What's the issue with doing that?
Because and I want to say the trouble with that, and I love the fact that we have this space to kind of articulate this thing. Because a lot of people talk about, oh, I got my car in my business name. I'm like, did you PG it? And they're like, yes. And I said, is it reporting to your personal credit? And they're like, yes. I was like, then you didn't put it in your business name. You know why? They put your name on the line, your business name on line 20, but it's not in your business name. And so, and then I also break it down a step further. I'm like, how old is your business? It's about a year. How much is your financial? And they'll tell me, oh, we don't have any money. I'm like, well, what makes you think that they're going to give your business, who has no kind of financials, the ability to then now prove that they can pay for this note? There's nothing reliable there.
Right.
So when
That's the
you
key.
say, I got my car in my business name, and you have no history in your business with no financials, there's a likelihood it's not in your business name because your business can't even stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where even when people are saying it sounds logical and easy, what? If they made it that easy, everybody would be doing it. That's why they have checklists that dequalifies people out the gate.
100%.
Why? Because if you don't want to play along with the old boys club, you don't get invited. And if you want to sit here and talk about it, don't make sense for me to get a 800 number with a business service provider because I could use my cell phone. Dequalified. Oh, I don't believe in 411. Dequalified. Fax
And
number. Who uses fax? Dequalified. You don't have a
the,
website. Dequalified. They don't have to waste their time with you and tell you it's the value that you need to have that they need to see you check off. So
that's the
it
key
comes in
thing right
second.
there. You
You
have to
can't.
keep in mind that, well, for me, what really put it in perspective for me to like lock in and say, oh, no, we got to run this, like we got to do all this stuff the right way, was getting declined or getting denied. And then you ask why? Oh, well, you don't have an office space. Hey, tomorrow we're getting the office space. That'll make you act right real quick. When you get declined for something that you know you've been told to do, but back then you didn't understand why, so you said I ain't gonna do it. And then somebody declines you because of it. That gets you to actually act right real quickly. And so that for me was what sealed the deal. Like as far as me getting a sense of urgency to start locking in and actually going after what I needed, like all the things that you had discussed just now, the 411 listing. I remember what made me do the 411 listing. I think somebody has said if you don't have your phone number listed in 411, it's pretty much not actually your business phone number, or it's not like it's not gonna be registered when they go check it. I listed the next 2 seconds, but I was told 2 months ago. So, so it like all that stuff matters a lot too. And I want to transition now because I know we have people that are wondering. So, because I really what I want to do now. So that's the setup. That's the beginning of it. And so you're told to do all these things in the beginning. Now I want to talk about the back end of it, so people can see where you're going to understand the importance of setting the foundation early. So, what's it, Nicole? I want you to talk a little bit more about on the back end. What is the results that you're able to get once you have done all these things, have the proper setup in place? Where are we going? So that way we can really paint the picture of understanding why we're doing this in the first place.
Okay, so before I go into that, somebody's asking if AFC is an office space. No. AFC is a floor plan or line of credit that is specifically for dealers and individuals that want to buy rental vehicles as well. So they have two different. In the dealer space we call it floor plans.
Mm-hmm.
In lay terms, it's just a line of credit,
Yep.
right? And that line of credit will allow for you to purchase vehicles, put it on a floor plan, so you don't have to come out of pocket, and then pay them. I think AFC gives you a year to pay it off. The dealer floor plans give you 90 days.
Yep.
So that was to answer NJ Cannabis Daily.
Mm-hmm.
That's to answer your question. In terms of the back end, so Marlon and I have spoken in length about this last week in regards to, some of the things that you need to consider when you're purchasing your vehicles, right? But everything that Leah's just mentioned, you have to do. Like as a dealer myself, you're welcome. As a dealer myself, I had to do all of it. I didn't really realize how important it was, but they wouldn't let you have your license without it, right? So
Listen, oh my god. Like, so understand, just becoming a dealer, you need to get qualified to get the license to be the dealer.
absolutely. And they require all of it. They require office space, 411, phone number, website, not as much, but you really are not a dealer if you don't have a website, because then how are people going to be able to, how are you going to be able to display your cars for people to
Mm-hmm.
be able to purchase them, right? Independents have a way around that, but it doesn't really, put you in line with others to compete well if you don't have a website, right? So all of the things that you just mentioned, you want to be able to build that, because like Marlon and I were talking about, when he told me what his credit score, what his line of credit was with AFC, I was like, what? But that was because you structured your company very well. You had already given them all that they needed to feel comfortable to give you as much as they gave you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's very important to not jump from step 1 to step 10, but do the 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's all about building that house on sand versus on solid ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once it gets real easier if you just do it right from the beginning. And I can tell you that I didn't do it right at the beginning. I had to go back, and I'm still going back in some instances, right? To clean some of that stuff
That
up,
hurt.
like the 411. Man, who thought that was going to be important? It is. It really is. A fax number? Yeah, absolutely. Like all of it. It's no joke. It's truth.
And just because I know where I was a few years ago, and I know that even something as simple as you may think as a line of credit, I didn't even know what that was before. I've heard of lines of credit from your house. If I never even got one before, so I really don't know how it works or what it does for you. So how am I using this line of credit? And like, am I just spending money like to pay staff? Like, am I spending money to build the business? Like, what does that look like when I get a line of credit? Well, like, why is that important to get that line of credit or that floor plan that you talked about?
Well, the floor plan is just for cars, right? So you can only when you now they actually have different types of floor plans, but this particular one and the two that we're talking about for AFC, they're for vehicles only. You can't
Mm-hmm.
use this money. Well, I can give you some workarounds, but it's specifically, we'll talk about that afterwards, Marlon. But it's
Facts.
specifically, it's specifically for cars, for vehicles, right? And it really just gives you more leverage to be able to purchase as much cars as you can up front instead of having to wait until you saved up enough to purchase another vehicle and saved up enough to purchase another vehicle or try to figure out how to take it off a credit card. And your credit's not being ran. It's only been ran once, but you can purchase hundreds of vehicles now because you got a line of credit.
So I'm gonna try to relate it to what I would know if I don't have a line of credit. Normally, what I gotta do is go to the bank. I gotta get a pre-approval, and they run my credit to get that pre-approval. And then I have a pre-approval in hand. Now I can go to the dealership and try to go buy a vehicle. Line of credit, I'm running my credit once. Am I
Okay.
still getting that? Am I still getting like a pre-approval? Like, is line of credit like I have this line of credit pre-approval or something different? Like, how does that look?
No, the pre-approval is basically, I mean, there's no pre-approval. They check your credit, right? And
Hmm.
then they tell you, okay, yes, and this is how much we're going to give you as a line of credit, right? So it starts at a 50,000 and it goes as high as it wants to go, right? Just based off of how much you've shown that you're worthy to receive, right? And when I say worthy, I mean, you, Marlon, have like over fifty vehicles, you're managing them, you're taking care of them. They look at that and they say, if you can manage 50, I can give you 100.
So yeah, I
I
can
can
go get
allow for you to get
off of
100
one credit pool.
off of one credit pool, right?
That's
You
that's
you already got 50 cars. You've already proven yourself that you can manage, a fleet, right? Now a
mm,
fleet is more than one or two cars, but this is that as an actual fleet. You can manage this. So, we feel comfortable with giving you, X amount of dollars to now build your fleet.
And
okay.
I think that's really important for people to know that when you are scaling your business, that's your actual resume. As Nicole just mentioned, you managing 50, it's easy for you to get 50 more. If you're
Hmm.
managing two and you trying to get 50, they need to see, wait, hold on, what's your capacity? What could you do? Two could probably get you maybe three more, but lines of credit don't start with you just getting two or three cars. So if you're wanting to get a line of credit or you want a floor plan, it's literally a floor plan. You got to cover the floor. So if you're trying to scale, you definitely want to tap in regard to Marlon as to getting more vehicles so you can show your resume and its depth. Like, I can handle 10 cars. I can handle 15 cars because those that can give you the 20, the 30, the 40 different vehicles, they need to see if you can manage it first. What does your resume actually say, right? So it's important to know just because Marlon's doing, 50 cars, you don't just get 50 out of the gate. No,
Right. I'm
Okay.
gonna. So going to that point, then, for somebody brand new that has one, maybe two cars, am I going to the AFC and saying, can I get that line of credit, that floor plan you talking about? Well, like, am I qualified at that level?
You can still try. because they're not only going based off of how many cars you have, they're also going based off of your credit, right?
Mm.
It's still just as important. They look at your credit and they're like, okay, so she might have two vehicles that she's managing. She wants to build vehicles. She's got a 750 credit score or
So they're going after
800.
your personal credit or your
They
business in
go
this
after
case.
your personal credit.
So it's going to be personal in this case.
It's going to be personal. It's going to be
So,
full, but it's going to be personal.
so say that part again.
I said it's one pull,
Okay.
right? But it's a
Hmm.
personal pull.
Okay. So are these cars in my business in that case?
Yes. Because in order for you to be able to do AFC, you need to have a business. Like you can't just be like all willy
So,
nilly. They
so I
expect you to
can't
have
show up without an LLC. Like I got to have some type of entity, LLC, S corp, C, whatever the entity is. I
some
got
type
to
of
show up.
entity. Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of like the personal guarantee in that
Correct.
case, but it's actually a true personal guarantee versus what we were talking about with Alleah before, which is like the co-signer. This shows up because so these cars, you're talking me like 50. I don't want to have 50 cars on my personal credit where I can't go buy a house tomorrow because I didn't overlap because now my credit is overleveraged. So this works a little differently. This is the PGing on the for this floor plan, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's gonna be
And
PG, and I think so. Can you describe how a PG works? Like, what does that mean for me if I go in and I PG something versus it's completely in my business name?
so a PG, it is going to be in your business name after your PG, but a PG is just basically them saying, okay, you know what? We're looking at your personal credit. Just like if you were to, what kind of example can I use?
So if you were,
Um,
if you wanted to rent an apartment, like you don't own it, but you're
right,
renting, they want to just know your history with other people. They want to
correct,
know like what's your payment history? Like, are you on time? Do you like it's they're really just trying to see your profile as to like what kind of a debt holder are you?
Right.
Do you meet your agreements? So technically it's not necessarily it's used for um installing accounts on. It's used to verify your character as a financial borrower.
Mm-hmm.
correct. So they're going to look at your personal, right? They're going to look at your personal far quicker than they're going to look at your business because chances are nine
Mm-hmm.
times out of 10, your business is more established. Your personal is more established. They see more history. They see your patterns, and they can feel more comfortable giving it to you. You've got a good credit score.
And
Um, to answer some questions, can we refinance with AFC? No. It's it kind of is. How do I explain how this works? Okay, so you'll purchase a vehicle, right? And what AFC does is they say, okay, we have this vehicle, and you're going to pay us back for this vehicle, and we're going to give you the course of a year to pay this back, right? And they're going to split up your payments to cover the year, right? So somebody asked, can you what if you can't pay back the car in the first year? You will pay back the car in the first year because that's how they split it up.
That is
It's like an
yeah,
amortized thing. So it's not like, oh well, maybe two. No, they split it up to make sure that you give them back their money in the year
right.
within.
that part right there is you have a mindset shift because a consumer mindset will have you thinking you got 2 years, 36 months, you have up to 72 years of a term. No, when you have a line of credit, floor plan, or a fleet loan, you do not have that many months. So, and
No,
it's
because, think about it. They're saying this is a business. You don't need that many months. You're making money, right? You should be able to pay this off because you're making money, right? And all you're doing is taking a portion of your money to pay off your debt, and then you move on. We're not here to give you no 2, 3, 4 years to pay off. This is not a personal loan. You know what I mean? This is not your personal
Yeah.
car. This is a business car, and we're giving you a year to pay it off, and then you move on. And I don't believe that they give you if you pay it off early, they penalize you. I think they prefer that, but they give you a year.
And
But then the other part too is also when you're building your business credit, you're accustomed to terms. So you got the net 30, you got the net 60, you got the net
Correct.
90. So when you are accustomed to working in a short time frame to meet those net terms,
That's
your
good.
score stays high. Your score stays above 80. It's only 80 to 100 for Experian, for Equifax. I'm sorry, Experian and Dun and Bradstreet. But if you are building your business credit and you have good starter habits, you easily have no problem meeting a year term because
Yeah.
all of your terms have been short that you had to agree with. So net 30, net 45, net 60, net 90. Maybe you get net 120, but you definitely don't get 2 years to overextend your to over leverage your debt because it doesn't, like Nicole said, it does not support you growing your business if you hold debt that long. And besides, you have a fiscal year you have to operate within.
Right.
So most businesses do not take debt from one year to another. That debt has to end up writing off at the on the December 31st is closed. They either sell off the debt or they get rid of it. So you got to get in the habit that you can't take debt from one year into the next. So that's a
Hmm.
mindset you guys have to be aware of, that if you're going into this, you're not going long term for years upon years.
Correct.
Yep, and that's exactly. I'm gonna hit on. But I had 2 points I wanted to hit on. First, I wanted to talk about the PG for a second. So with PG, because I've talked to so many people, like the lenders, and just trying to understand what that looks like. So when you say PG versus a card going strictly into your business name only, what I had to learn was that PG is pretty much how they can add some extra support and some extra peace of mind as the lender to know that if this business decides that they want to go out of business tomorrow, I don't have to just worry about losing all my money that I just lent to that business. Because understand that you are new as that not you as the person, but you as the business are new. You're new, like how a newborn baby is new here. Can we trust that they can handle money? Versus the person that has good credit, I can trust you because I see that you have a credit history of 5, 10, 15 years. So I'll be okay lending to your new business as long as you back it. Meaning that if your business defaults, I can still come after you. And I think the importance of understanding AFC, well, first of all, understanding the rental industry. So, like Alleah mentioned earlier, it's hard enough to get a bank to lend to a rental car company.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard enough to get that to happen. So, what is AFC really doing? AFC is now the gateway. They're the gateway that says we're willing to lend to the newer rental car companies, but on one condition. That condition is that UPG, because of the fact that we are willing to work with the risky industry as AFC, but we are not willing to act a fool and lend to a new business on top of being in a risky business, being the rental car industry.
Mm-mm.
They will introduce you into it. So now people are going to wonder, what are those minimum requirements? First off, the personal credit. You have to make sure that you have a personal foundation set. So you want to make sure that you have a good personal credit. And then on top of that, now this is where all the things that Alleah was talking about earlier come into play. The 411 listing, the physical address, potentially your dealer's license, potentially all these different things to be able to operate with AFC. So they have their requirements, but I think that personal credit is very key because if you don't have that, they can't trust anything. They can't trust their business because it's too young, and they can't trust you because you're not credible. So both
Correct.
of those are like super important. And I think so. I saw Chris mention this earlier in regards to what was it? Oh, because Nicole, you were talking about the shorter terms. People are used to hearing things like especially like when you go get a pre-approval, when you about to go get a loan for a car. I'm used to hearing things like a 5-year amortization, like 60 months, 72 months, 84 months. But then you come over to AFC and you hear things like 12 months, and I think they may extend it to 24 at most.
At
And
most.
I think the reason for that is because you have to now train your brain to start thinking of a rental car business and how it's ran. So Chris pointed it out earlier. He was waiting for me to say it in a way because I talk about it all the time. I went to a conference earlier this year called ACRA, and actually International Car Rental Show when I first learned about it. And all of a sudden I started hearing a different way of thinking. because nobody there was a Turo host. Everybody there was an independent operator. They've been operating in the business for years, decades, and I could not find one person that said, "Yeah, man, we've had these cars for 4 years straight. We paid them off, and we've been running them since 2017." Nobody keeps their cars that long.
No.
So AFC is starting to train you in a
Correct.
new way of thinking. You're not keeping your cars for 12 years. So, no, for 5 years. You may keep them for one. A lot of companies, thinking about enterprise, I learned that they keep their cars for 4 to 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and it's time to go. so,
And
so
one of the reasons why they do that too is because if you and Marlon, now that you are a dealer, you'll realize that. Yeah,
Congratulations!
yep,
so
yeah.
we gotta bring Leah up to spead too, because we had some
Listen.
super great news today. Um, I'm gonna get to it.
Oh
I want
no,
to
Wait,
get to. I'm
hold on,
no,
saving
hold
it.
on. Wait a
you
minute,
ain't
wait a
got
minute.
to. Nope.
We not jumping the gun yet. Hold on. Wait
You're
a
right.
minute.
We're gonna save it.
But the reason why you'll see Enterprise, they only keep their cars for that long is because once you go into the auction space, you'll see that they sell their cars.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why they keep it that long is so that they can still make a decent amount of money for the car that they've sold, right? So independents like myself that don't have this big, huge car dealership yet, right? We're still trying to get good cars.
Mm-hmm.
We're going off of Enterprise because even though it's a rental, it's only got about 60,000 miles on it. We could take
Yep.
that and sell it and make a money, right? So when cars like that, yeah, they're only going to be on their Enterprise is only going to keep their cars for a maximum of 8 months, and then they're flipping it out because they still want to make sure they still get good money for it.
I think you got to highlight that though, because why? Who? Because this is the fundamental difference of why people try to keep their cars so long as Turo hosts or like rideshare hosts versus how enterprise is working. So you really have to like take a deeper dive into what's making them do what they do. So you're saying that they trying to get like good money for it when they sell it. So that means they had to be thinking about this from the very beginning. So what are they? So when I go to, I mean, actually, I want to talk about that too. What's the perks of having that dealer's license?
Oh, there's so much. There's having a dealer's license really opens you up for. Okay, so one of the things that I mentioned last week is that when you go into a dealership, you are paying for the dealership, right?
Paying for their lights.
You're paying for their lights, their building, their employees, what they're sitting on, their desks. You're paying for all of that, right? Um, so when you have your dealer's license, all that gets cut out now, and it's just you and the auction. The same auction that they go to come back and sell it to you, you cut the middleman
You're
out,
cutting the middleman.
and now
And the
you're
building.
straight. And with all the middleman fees, those are all gone. Now it's just you and the auction, right? Now, granted, you'll realize when you get your dealer's license, you will realize just how much money you are paying to these dealers, because you'll see, like, it's just you buy a car and it's 15,000, and that's all that it is 15,000, unless you put it on a floor plan, right? Take 15,000 and you do what you need to do with the car, right? So you have to really think about it in the terms of, am I the employee or am I the boss? When you go in as a dealership, you the boss. There's nobody in between you and the auctions. It's just you and them, right? And how you handle things. There the thing that I mentioned before about the floor plan. So if you have a floor plan, right? As I said, you only get dinged once for your personal,
Mm-hmm.
but you got a plethora of cars that you can put on this floor plan, buy, sell, rent. It's not a, like, Marlon's going to be buying hundreds of cars on his floor plan. You're not going to see hundreds of inquiries.
Oh,
That part right
this
there. I was waiting. I
I
was like, oh, she gonna say it. She
I
gonna
Yeah,
say
got
it.
front. That's just
just
front.
to share with y'all what the hundreds of inquiries look like. I got 9 inquiries from one credit pool, and didn't even
They
leave with a car. Didn't even
Yep.
leave with a
they
car.
be butchering your credit, and that's the
Didn't even
worst
leave
part.
with a car.
Because even as you're scaling, and I'm so glad I was waiting. I was like, I knew it was coming. I was like, oh, because even when you are trying to establish yourself as, okay, I want to get, and I say this because even though John's not here, this is something he's going through. And it's the
Hmm.
fact that like he has so many inquiries and he can't go because literally it's like they need to run his credit, but they see that he has so many inquiries from the dealerships that chopped up his credit. So he's not able to get his
What do you think this is? What do you think this is?
A credit
letters
report.
to go out to get those inquiries removed.
Yep.
No, these are denial letters.
Oh no.
These are
Wow.
denial letters because of inquiries. Oh, what do they say? Number of inquiries in the last 12 months. So, and it's not
That
one,
part.
it's not two, not three, not four, not five,
That's
not
like,
six.
but and the worst part about it is that he's getting inquiries just to find out he's getting denied. That's the
Denied.
other
That
part.
that part.
He's
That
getting every time he's like, oh well, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna like, listen, after 2, don't do no more. Like you got 2 denials, that's it. But you trying it, and then literally, if you got 14 denials, that's 14 inquiries that literally just popped off, and now you got 14 on top of the other ones, and now you got to get those off. So inquiries, and it's not even that. And I definitely encourage you, please tap in with Marlon. Tap in with Marlon in regards to the vehicle management system that he has. Because, and when you leverage other people's resources, as our lovely, amazing Maddie J will always say to you, optimize other people's resources. This will save your credit. It will save your credit so much so that you can actually get business funding and you can get these floor plans, fleet loans, and line of credits because you not tapping into you using other people's credit and you're not using your own credit. So those inquiries, oh man, they shoot you down to not be able to get those floor plans.
That yes, and I gotta highlight that part right there. Save your like once you like you said the key piece. Once you get denied twice, stop trying so much and fix the problem before you continue. Because what you're gonna end up doing is digging yourself a deeper hole to get out of by continuously over and over getting more inquiries. Because it makes you look worse and worse and worse and worse, as opposed to the 2 inquiries, see the problem, fix it, come back again stronger. Because at some point you're gonna have some inquiries that now people can be like, yeah, that's a red flag when you just see him walk through the door. They start not touching you with a 10-foot pole, like stay away. Something's wrong with you, obviously. Because like yeah, remember you're walking in as a stranger. Nobody needs rooms. All these different finance companies, nobody knows you. So if they don't really know you, you have to figure out how to best make them feel comfortable working with you. And what that is, the name of that is credit. That's how you make the people feel comfortable.
The other part
Yes,
about making people feel comfortable about you, if one person denies you, why did they deny you? Why should I accept you? And so now when you have
exactly.
all these people denying you, they definitely like, well, I'm gonna trust these people who said no rather than be like, I'm gonna take my risk because that's what inquiries do. They tell people whether or not you are worthy to get a vehicle or to get more lendability, or they shut you down where it's like, okay, all these people over here said no to you. I'm not going to be the fool to say yes. So I'm going to say no too.
That part
Facts.
right there. Think about it like this: whose side would the lend? If you were a lender, whose side would you be on? The person that's coming to you, or your brothers, the other lenders? There's other lenders that have said we're not feeling that person. So who you gonna believe? The people that just on your side that's doing the same business that you are, or this new person that's walking in saying, "Hey, I know all your brothers and sisters denied me, but can you give me a chance?" It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
So
It really doesn't.
People, and that's, I appreciate, again, I'm always going to appreciate this platform with you guys because we are literally debunking and demystifying the actual poor information that's circulating around, because people think this, because they think that it can happen. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's real easy. Or they're spreading the wrong information that people are getting got by. It's no. Think about the logic nature of inquiries. If you have 7 and you don't have 7 open accounts tied to those inquiries, fix your credit.
Fix
Do
it.
not continue to try and then think that, oh well, no, you did stop the bleeding. At this point, you just taking a knife and going, it's okay, it's fine, and you bleeding everywhere, can't do nothing,
Let's try
can't
this
get
on
no
our
more.
next.
Sound effects.
No, seriously. So
Telling
now,
you, I be seeing people out here just really hurting themselves. I'm like, please stop. Just don't go no more, please.
I love Jonathan right here. So Jonathan Powell, he been really. I've been watching him. He's been doing a lot of listening, and just like instead of, I really want to see his journey like a year or two from now, because he's taking in a lot of information right now.
Is
And
this the Jonathan that's getting ready to buy a Lambo? Is that the
No,
same
no,
Jonathan?
no, no.
no,
This is
Oh, okay.
Jonathan Powell. He's actually new to Maddie J's community, and
Okay,
it's
gotcha.
funny because I think Marlon had just got off the call and we were talking, and Jonathan popped in at like midnight, and I was like, "Hey, okay, I'm about to go to bed, but nice to meet you." And then ever since then, he's been like getting information and
yeah.
like tapping in, and so he's definitely on it. He's making sure that he's getting all connected to the right people, which is then going to make sure to propel his organization in a successful manner. So shout out to Jonathan for sure.
Reason I'm so excited. I wish I had these 3 people on a platform when I was first getting started to understand that there is levels to this. And the reason that I'm so passionate about the stuff we talking about today is because everybody teaches, hey man, you throw a couple cars on Turo, man, you make some passive income, you drive your dream car for free. Man, I'm so sick of hearing that stuff. Like,
Well,
I
it was a
hate
marketing
hearing that
strategy,
stuff.
right? That worked. That's basically, how Turo marketed to everybody. It was really, I think Turo started out with classic cars, right? High-end, exotics, classic
Hmm.
cars, because these individuals would put it out on there so that they could drive it, right? Oh,
Yeah,
you let it rent for a couple of days and then you can drive your dream car. So that's how they marketed it to begin with. They didn't know
right.
people were going to come out here and actually start businesses.
Yeah, and that's my key, because I want to take a different angle with it. Like the way I would approach it is different, because I don't want to. So you're pretty much your sales piece is start the side hustle. My thing is, what is your real problem you're trying to solve?
Mhm.
You, like a lot of people, especially like myself, for instance, we're trying to find a solution to not having to work forever. And so in order to do that, you need to build something that's built to last, not just create another side hustle that I have to work in I'm never going to be able to move away from. And so with that
Right.
mindset, I can't think side hustle. I got to think build something sustainable. And so with yeah, so there she go. I was listening to it earlier, but
What is that?
that's a book that she just recommended to me earlier.
Built
Listen,
to.
when you in my coaching collective, you read. If you ain't reading, you ain't in my coaching collective. I'll make sure to give you a book. But the thing that Marlon and again comes back to my shirt, making sure his goal actually to go back to his first question he asked me is that when it comes down to what I needed, it wasn't just the 100 cars. It was the fact that he wanted to build a actual sellable business.
Yes.
So when you think about the end in mind, it's easier for you, because that's the other thing too. People don't think about the exit plan. When they coming in here like, oh, I'm just gonna get a few cars and I'm gonna put it on Turo, they blowing with the wind. There's no
Yep.
exit strategy. They not sitting here, well, am I gonna become a rental agency? Am I going to actually just do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 cars? What is like the long-term picture? And so when you are building a sustainable business, at some point you actually want to build it to sell, because if you got a strong business, your business valuation can be in the millions. Like him setting up his system the way that it is and being able to access AFC and all of their brethren in regards to like oh, I got a floor plan here, and there's 10 different people you could get money from. And if he's absolutely has his portfolio with all 10, he could sell his business off to places like Enterprise, places like well, Hertz might even pay a good penny to come back into the market, right? So at this point, you do want to make sure that you do have that end strategy, so you know, okay, I'm not just getting in here to just ride my favorite car, but actually, what does it look like? It may be 5 cars, it may be a rental agency. So it's important.
Right. And so
What
that's
does
why
it say, Leah?
it's
Oh,
called built to sell.
it says built to sell.
Oh, built to sell.
It's,
Okay.
So
so for anybody who wants that book, you can, it's like he's so built to sell by who?
So this is by John Warrillow. And
Yeah.
so it's basically creating a business that can thrive without you. That's
Mhm.
another part where it's, you understand, even if you're not selling the business, it's also being able to walk away for a 6-month vacation, and guess what? You come back and there's still money in your pocket and more.
You
So
you already know how mom. And so matter of fact, hitting on that piece. The whole reason that I'm like passionate about not talking about the drive your dream car for free and that type of sales piece is because I'm selling the wrong motive. And if
Right.
I want you to really, for anybody listening, I want you
That
to
part.
step back and think, why, like, what is my goal? Like, starting there, is my goal just to drive a dream car for free, or is my goal freedom altogether? Is my like so? I'm just some of people are dangling carrots when you need a true solution. What is the solution to my problem? My problem is that I don't want to work for this person anymore. I don't want to work. I don't want to have to. I don't want to be working when I'm 65. I don't want to be working when I'm 70. I want to be able to live. I want to be able to take that 6-month long vacation. How do I do that? And now we start getting the right answers. And that is not by getting 2 cars and driving one casually and cutting all the corners. That's not the answer. So I can't do that stuff. If I know what my goal is from day one, and my goal is to have that level of freedom, I cannot treat things like a side hustle. Show me the person with a side hustle that is living financially free. Show me that person, and then I'll model that for them. But until you find me that person, I can't go in that way and think that's gonna give me my end result. So you have to really know what is your end goal that you're trying to get to, and let that dictate what you need to do to get there.
Yeah, I remember when I first started Turo, because of how they were advertising, it wasn't really in my wheelhouse to try and build a company on their platform, right? It was more like, let me get a little extra cash, right? Let me, I'm working this full-time job. Never once did I really think, you know, I want to own a rental agency one day. So I'm going to start with Turo, and then I'm eventually going to come off the platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was just like, well, I'm in corporate, but they always say, have multiple streams of income. So let me throw a couple of cars on this platform, make a couple of thousand. I think when I first started, I made about $2,000 a month. That was okay for me. I was making 6 figures in corporate. So I was like, this is just like my spending money. I can travel with it. I can, do whatever. But quite honestly, the work that I was putting in, I'm like, no, this is not just spending money. This is like, this is business money right here. This is a lot of work, right?
Yep.
So, but going into that mindset caused me to jump out of it. I was like, this is too much work. This is not what I signed up for. And when I finally took the step back and was like, yeah, you know what? I do want to own a business. I already know Turo. I'm already very familiar with it. Let me take it a step further, expand. So I really like the message that you're putting out there. Don't just go in there thinking halfway. Like, go in there big picture thinking, like, how far can I go with this? I can sell a business. Like, I can build something and actually make millions just by selling it after the fact.
And I think all three of us talk about that heavy. This is not a short-term goal. This is a long-term play. Like, this is a long-term activity, because even when you're building your business that's 10, 15, 20 years old, with financials for 10, 15, 20 years old, you now move away from business credit and now move into corporate credit.
Mhm.
So when, people look at that, they actually might come to you and be like, you want to sell your business? Because I want to buy your corporate credit. And that's the thing too, is that when you think of the long term, and that's why even for me, I tell people when they start their actual LLCs, don't do it just yourself. Go through an incorporation service or go through an attorney, because at some point they'll give you what's known as a corporate seal, or they will give you stocks. At some point or another, you don't see and understand when you actually have to see and use those stocks. You're like, it's just a binder, but it may cost you an extra $50 when you need to sell your business and you like, hey, I need to make a stock sale. Your attorney is going to amplify that price just to make your stocks, just to sell your business. So it's again, starting your business with the end in mind really does actually make it a long-term aspiration to grow with your, to have something of longevity. And we talk about generational wealth all the time.
Yeah.
Generational being the very key part of that. It ain't short term. It's not for the minute, or it's not running, like just for, a few years. Generations means you can take that business, sell it to, pass it on to your kids, and now the generations actually benefit from it. So we always want to look at this not from the standpoint of what we doing right now for the momentary satisfaction, but look at how much power you can have as a community, as a business owner, when you actually have an actual business that can supersede 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and then your children take over this multi-million-dollar business you built.
Facts.
100%.
Facts.
And I mean, when I'm trying to build, if I'm building something that I want to create generational wealth from, what you have to really think, like, are you just looking to make, is this just looking for something that you are doing? Or are you trying to actually be able to pass down the wealth without having to pass down the work that comes with it? So when I say that, I'm trying to think of how to kind of best put it, because a lot of people, they consider that generational wealth. I'm going to build this business. I'll be working in it. And if one day my child may want to take my place and start working in it too, the same way I'm doing, they may want to inherit the wealth, but they may not want to inherit the work that you're doing. So as a solopreneur, this is where I'm like, this is where the passion is going, to where I'm about to probably create an entire thing about this. I'd rather work a 9 to 5 rather than be a solopreneur. If this is, and I want to preface this by saying, if I'm going to be a solopreneur for life, give me the 9 to 5, because a 9 to 5, I can work from 9 to 5. After that, I'm done. And I'll retire at 70. And solopreneur, I work 24/7. I never end. The day I die is the day I end. Or the day I decide to stop the business, that's the day it ends too. But guess what happens from there? I have no income. How does it make sense for me to go the solopreneur route over the 9 to 5 route, if I look at the apples to apples like that? So my two true solutions: 9 to 5 or build the business.
Right.
If I'm going to do a business, if I'm going to do something for myself, I am not going to come in as a solopreneur. I may start as a solopreneur. Like, I need to start somewhere. So yes, you may start by yourself in the beginning, but I have the aspiration to build a business, not to do this the rest of my life by myself. So every day I'm thinking, how can this grow to where I'm not doing it? If I'm not actively thinking that, then that means that I'm getting too complacent when doing this stuff while I have the energy. At some point, my energy is going to go away. I'm not going to have the same energy that I have today. I'm not going to have that energy 20 years or 30 years from now. At some point, I want to take that 6-month vacation that Alleah was talking about. But my income shouldn't be impacted because I decided to take a break. That's not freedom. That's slavery. I'm a slave to my own business at that point. And I'd rather have 9 to 5.
And that's the thing, is that there's an overglorification of your grind and your hustle, providing for yourself. But in actuality, and I'm so grateful, because I was like, Marlon, I'm sending you this shirt, because everyone thinks that I have something against solopreneurs, but it's like, no, it's really the fact that exactly what Marlon just said. you absolutely cannot get away from being the sole person behind your business. So when you now you move from that and you have an enterprise, which then makes you an entrepreneur, you then now have to actually consider firing yourself and letting people actually take your business and concept ideas, mission values, and vision to the next level. And that's where it comes to the fact that even when we are building businesses, a lot of us are not dreaming big. They're not dreaming to this scope of like, what do you mean? I'll have a rental agency at Dulles and Atlanta and California. I can have a rental agency at these places. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, the dream is so big that they're like, nah, it's cool. I could run these 2 or 3 cars. But in actuality, if you start practicing dreaming that you're big, and both Marlon and Nicole have gone through my road mapping program, where it is absolutely essential for you to sit down and create a map for yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if we looked at the whole map of the United States, we'd be like, damn, that's a lot of coverage. But you zoom in and you could cover New York. And then you zoom in again, you get to Jersey. Then you start to travel your road map, and before you know it, you've covered the whole entire map. And so it's key that you guys really, when you look into getting your cars in your business name, there is a trajectory that has to happen, but actually has more benefits than just having those cars in your business name. Just having those cars. There's so many other added bonuses and benefits. Having the proper structure, having the ability to obtain vehicles, having the ability to scale, having the ability to have a team, and then ultimately becoming the investor in your business where you are either giving it resources, giving it money, or again, your company is running itself.
Mm-hmm. And this is all 100% like, and so going back to the getting the cars in the business name, because I want to make sure that we close it out because we were at the point where we work with AFC, we're personal guaranteeing the cars. I think the last point to hit on is that is AFC the only lender that will lend to your business? This is for Nicole. Like, is there other lenders that actually provide these lines of credit that you were talking about earlier? Because
I think Jonathan
as
was telling us about one. AFC is the only one that I know of right
mhm,
now that does that type of rental.
right,
But I also believe that, and I wrote it down. Jonathan had mentioned another one that you're going to have to jump through more hoops, right?
right,
So that
yeah,
AFC is probably the one that's
The M.
the easiest
yeah,
entry.
yep. So the thing is, the other lenders that you want to work with, they will have more, like you said, more hoops, more
Hmm.
things to jump through. Meaning that, and I think the reason for that is because now they are going to look at your business only.
Correct.
It's no longer going to be the personal guarantee. It's just going to be straight business. So you talking about how to get cars in your business name? Go through this system because it's not going to. So you're asking a question when you say, "How do I get cars in my business name?" You're asking a question that does not have a. You're going to get the cars in your business name tomorrow. That is not going to be the. It's going to
No.
be the question you're asking is going to have a system of steps, and so you have to go through those steps in order to get there. Which is why it's not a straightforward answer. So, are you willing to go through the steps? Is the real question, because you can get there, but AFC is going to be a pivotal piece to now qualify you because, like you said earlier, AFC will even extend, like, give you a higher line of credit if they see that you've been able to work with what you currently have. It's like in the Bible it says, "You've been faithful over little, now I'll give you plenty."
Right.
That's what happens with AFC. It's like stranger meets stranger. Y'all gain trust, and you prove yourself trustworthy. The stranger will give you a little bit more.
Hmm.
That's what happens with going to AFC as the prime example of the first lender that you work with to get cars in your business name, but with you personal guaranteed.
Right.
After the fact, you can get a higher line of credit with them, and now they may vouch for you to new lenders
Right.
that will lend directly to your business and not even consider your personal.
But there's levels to this thing.
Yep.
And it
Levels to
definitely starts with having the proper structure.
And
If
that was
you
going to bring it back home.
that proper structure, y'all can't even sit here and even ask for anything because they're gonna literally they're gonna put your business under scrutiny and it can eliminate you. And in Marlon's case, what he was referencing, he's in a waiting period, is because he had to go back and rebuild. So I always like to use the analogy of a cement foundation. A cement foundation, depending on how you build it, can either build you a shack or a skyscraper. But if you want to get a skyscraper and you got a shack foundation, you got to go ahead and demolish that shack and go ahead and fix the foundation before it's strong enough to actually build that solid skyscraper foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes to the fact that if you don't have the proper business structure, no matter if you started yesterday, 2 months ago, 2 years ago, it will come back to say, hey, is your business strong enough to stand on its own? If it's not, you eliminate yourself from the opportunity to scale, because they want you to make sure you check all the boxes before you can actually get a large size purchase that is vetted by your business, or it can be supported by your business. Mm-hmm. So before you can even think about, and again, I'm going to reiterate this for those that are new, watching this, rewatching this. When a dealer tells you that they put your car in your business name, there is a likelihood, a strong likelihood, that it's not. So if it's brand new, just think of the logic. You have a 2-day-old business, a 2-month-old business. There is nothing to give them trust that your business can actually repay that loan. So please know that when a dealer is telling you those things, they are telling you sweet nothings so you could close the deal and they can make some money. And you guess what? You can't come back and tell them it's not really in my business name. Oh, well, I thought it was. You get a lot of that. So please, 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 when people tell you they are putting your car in your business name, places like Bank of America, they can give you a loan. You still PG it. It will not report to your Dun & Bradstreet number to give you a score. It will report to Experian, but not your score. Your delinquency score. It will not report to your IntelliScore. It will just be there on your small business financial exchange that you have an actual loan with your business. Mm-hmm. But if you default, they come in after your personal, and they're definitely not going to report to your personal. So that is possible. But you want to make sure that majority of the places, if you do not go to a commercial department in the dealership that offers commercial financing, there is a likelihood that that car is going to be PG'd and on your personal credit. So think of the Sprinter vans by Mercedes. Think of the Ford trucks. Think of the Toyota vehicles, and then think of I think there's one other that's slipping me. But if you think of them, they have a commercial line. They have a commercial dealership. They have a commercial finance department. If they provide commercial vehicles, there's a likelihood it can go into your business name. If you do not work with that, and you're working with a mom and pop shop or a brokerage that works a middleman in between, you're being lied to. So again, make sure you have your structure in place, and make sure you know what you need to know before going into these dealerships, because you want to make sure you don't even go there. You are the dealer, because you're going to go with Nicole and become a dealer and tap in with 30-day dealer so you can get your dealer's license where you are. And then you're going to tap into Marlon to make sure that you can scale your fleet by using other people's cars and your line of credit. So your fleet line of credit. So definitely make sure your structure is right, though. If your structure is not right, tap in with me. We'll do an evaluation, make sure we can fill your gaps, fill your holes, and then I can send you over to Marlon and Nicole. Like, they ready, they got everything, they ready to go.
And yeah, that's how I kind of wanted to close it out too, because I want everybody to be able to take action from this. And so in order to do so, they need to figure out, like, what's my first step? Depending on where you are is really the question. If you are getting started and you don't necessarily have any cars, it's a prime opportunity for you to now establish yourself from day one. This is where Credit Coach Leah comes into play. If you are at a place where you have the business established, you may have been running it for a couple months, maybe a year now, but you're at a point where you're trying to breakthrough from small tour host to independent operator, you might need to be considering working with myself, because now that's where I added a link down in the chat, scalemyfleet.com. That's where we're actually hosting a webinar tomorrow where we'll be sharing with you our journey about scaling our fleet from 10 to 25 cars. Because there's a space of time where you're not going to be able to go to different banks to get more money, and you can't necessarily get cars through your business because it's not old enough, because you haven't qualified to work with the lenders like the AFCs of the world or the other lenders that also lend directly to your business. So in that range of time, what do? That's where you can scale your fleet up through what we'll be teaching during the webinar. If you're at a point now where you have all that stuff and now you're trying to like run the full the car rental agency play, where you're trying to start going to auctions and getting different the cars at auctions at discounted prices and then running the true fleet, you tap in with Nicole. So there's all different phases that you can tap into. That's why I wanted to make sure we all came on here to really see how the story unfolds. But both of y'all, I really appreciate y'all for joining in today. Let people know where they can find out more about y'all, how they can tap in with y'all afterwards.
Go ahead, Nicole.
You can tap in with me at 30 Day Dealer. I also have a site called, you can tap in with me at 30 Day Dealer. I don't want to confuse anybody. 30daydealer.com.
You guys can find me at culturecredit.coach on Instagram. And that's the easiest way. Just send me a DM, culturecredit.coach. Because you can see Marlon's story. You can see actually the walls of story there. Y'all can tap in and see what that's experienced. But easiest way to tap in with me is on my DMs, and my actual link in my bio is my Socio tab. Hella resources there, but that's definitely where you can book a consultation with me so that we can go ahead and evaluate your business. And if you're missing any gaps, you'll probably go back there and get some of the resources I have listed there. So best way to Chris, stay in the chat. Shout out to Chris.
Yeah, Chris be working.
Thank you.
Chris
Chris.
working as always.
Sure.
Yeah. And this live will be saved, so y'all be able to come back and tap into it. We'll probably end up going live again in the future just to reiterate some things, because it's important enough to where it has to be repeated sometimes. And so I know Aaliyah's gonna be like, "Hey, we gotta run it back." So
no, I'm gonna make a YouTube video of this and add it to my social tab and be like, "Listen, just click the phone conversation."
Yeah. You're most deaf. Do y'all have any last words y'all want to say for the people?
Just for me, I think just watching your growth, Marlon, I'm so proud of you, man. Listen, it is truly it is truly great to know you for real, because I look at like young people like yourself. I call you young because I've probably got about 10 years, 10, 15 years over you. And just seeing how you just gone hard, listened to, to people and their coaching and done what you needed to do. And you're still going. Like, you haven't arrived yet, but you are really on the right path. And I'm proud to see one of our Black youths.
Appreciate it. I'm motivated to really, I think I was telling Alleah a lot back toward the end of our coaching. I said, I feel like a pioneer at this point for this particular thing that we're doing, because getting answers from like a set person is no longer existent for me. I've been trying for the longest, so trying to find who is that one mentor that can just tell me everything that hasn't existed. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll be that person for everybody else the person I couldn't get, I'll try to be that for other people. That's my goal. So I really appreciate that, though.
Absolutely.
I co-sign with you, Nicole, on the fact that like watching it from afar and like watching it evolve and like seeing all the progress, I'm like, I wish this journey on very many people, to be honest. I'm serious, because literally it was such a learning curve, but he was teachable, and he was also, paying attention to what his business needs are, what his personal, what his the projection of his business, and he was aligning himself in different places that allowed him to really tap into the resources that were coming to him. to see his business like scale within a year is definitely, I think everybody can do it. I think everybody, if they are able to learn, absorb, and connect with the right resources, and as Marlon said, the three of us together, there's a wealth of knowledge between all three of us that could save so much money and time for people who are, Google Universitying it and like, I'm just gonna follow all these Instagram lives and piece together my journey. And with Marlon taking from the resources and the connection, like I remember Marlon talking about how the hell can I get some insurance for these vehicles? And then literally he goes to the one place that nobody else is connected to. No one's connected to Acura. And no one really was talking about the car rental show. And it's like he gets there, and not only does he get his question answered, but then he gets all this other information that like propels him. So I really, like I said, I wish this journey on so many people because it was nurturing, and there was every time he had a question, an answer came to him, a person came to him, a resource came to him, and he's still constantly going with it. So listen, if everybody could build a business like this, we'd have a lot of powerful Black families and Black businesses that we could really support because of that same kind of journey that I'm just like, and it don't take time. This wasn't 5 years. This wasn't like 10 years. I'm struggling for 10 years. It's literally like less than 12 months. But at the same time, you can see how much growth and impact just, him having that pioneering experience. And a lot of people can do that. I definitely, I co-sign on I'm so proud of you.
No, I appreciate that, but goes back to what I said in the very beginning. This is why I'm so big on the fact that y'all two are like pivotal. This is why I'm honored to be able to have both y'all on the live together because it's like that's why I like to be saying I'm in the middle of where both of y'all, like the role that y'all will play in my journey is like Alleah's on setting up the foundation. Like what we're telling y'all to do is like people that's watching, it's literally the same journey I've gone through myself. Start with the foundation, scale, and now we're at the point where now it's like on the popping for real, where you're gonna like be able to start scaling at infinite amount because now you have qualified yourself to be able to do so. And so and both of y'all are pivotal pieces in me knowing how to do that. And so that's why I said from the beginning, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a community to raise a successful business owner. So I'm grateful to both of y'all because I wouldn't be me without y'all. And so I'm just really appreciative of what y'all are able to do too for me.
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
Y'all make sure y'all hit that link in the pinned. Make sure y'all, if y'all are watching this live, make sure you go to scalemyfleet.com. Tap in with Marlon. Don't ruin your credit. Please go ahead and leverage other people's credit, other people's resources. Get your businesses grown. Go ahead and tap in with Marlon for the scalemyfleet.com and make sure you are in tomorrow's webinar. If you were not here,
I'm gonna be there just for the support, but I'll probably learn a few things too.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be good. Me and my dad will be hosting it, and we'll be sharing with other people that middle ground story. If you're trying to scale your fleet up to be able to qualify to work with the AFCs of the world and things like that, that's where you need to be at. So looking forward to tomorrow. Thanks for both of y'all for hopping on tonight. Like I said, we'll probably be back soon, but until next time, y'all, appreciate everybody for tapping in too and listening. So hopefully somebody learned something today. I always want somebody to learn and not just be, man, that was a good live. Don't just say that. Just say, what can I apply from this live? That's the key. Apply something that you learned today. So.
And make sure to share it and comment below. If you learned something, comment below. Let us know what you learned. And definitely go ahead, share this with someone else if you know they're in the rental industry. Whether they're here or not, share this live so that they can actually learn too the nuggets that they can have and execute to be a successful business.
Big facts. So we've been on 90 minutes. I'm going to give y'all back the rest of y'all night. So until next time. Right. All right, y'all. It's been good. Later.